Have you ever had the deep longing to travel and explore new cultures, places, and people, but you're not able to jet off just yet? Well, you're just in luck. I'm here to provide audio experiences that take you on imaginative journeys across the world, exploring all kinds of new places, both near and far. Welcome to Pieces of Travel. I'm your creator, Marisha, a travel and music aficionado, if you will. Each episode, we'll be traveling to a new destination through storytelling and tunes based on local music culture. My biggest wish is to make travel accessible for all and trigger curiosity, expand mindsets to consider new cultures, inspire travel, and learn something with me along the way. Buckle up and hang tight because we're ready for takeoff. Howdy, travel friends! Welcome back to Pieces of Travel. Today is a very special day because you are going to land in the most magical place, Kauai, Hawaii. We are going to visit a handful of great grub spots, get up close and a little personal with lots of wildlife, take a helicopter tour of the island, attend a luau, and so much more. I can't decide which is more exciting, swimming with turtles or boating alongside dolphins. But the real highlight is an engagement. The music from Doug and Sandy was heard live during the trip right in the heart of Hanalei's Community Center one warm, breezy evening. Some artists on the playlist are local, while other songs were picked from a self-curated Island Tunes playlist that was on repeat during the trip, or purely because the song really reminds me of Kauai. Get ready for the ride because this one's a doozy. And if you enjoy this podcast, please follow, subscribe, and rate the show. Traveling over wasn't so bad. Even with the change of planes, you were able to cash in on double the kind smiles from Hawaiian Airlines flight attendants and double the complimentary over-sweetened Mai Tais. The plane immediately introduces you to a very small part of island culture, but as you exit the aircraft, a whiff of saltwater and seaweed smack you in the face, giving you a very personal welcome. You've been dreaming of this trip for months, and it feels a bit unreal you finally arrived. On the first day here, it's a given to stop and get some good eats and see a few sights as you gently become familiar with the surroundings. Like this cute little lighthouse you spot from afar, local fishermen teaching their young ones to fish, chickens and nenes roaming freely, horses grazing in a large pasture while the sun sets behind, a secret secluded beach with wooden swing and knotted rope hanging from tree branches reaching over the ocean. In this short time of being on the island, the experience already feels like something you'd only see in a movie. And to imagine, it can only get better. After getting settled into the place you'll call home for the next 10 days and realizing there are a lot of little critters joining you during your stay, such as loud bugs, noisy birds, and most importantly, giant spiders the size of your head, you measured from the safe side of the glass. There's no more time to waste. It's about time you get out there and start exploring. First up, it's decided to take a helicopter ride to learn more about the dreamy island itself and take it all in from above, before you two get more acquainted, of course. Your heli pilot was born and raised on the islands and knows a great deal of fun facts and knowledge to pass along. You float by the famous waterfalls, along with many others, from Jurassic Park, making childhood dreams come true. As he describes history, erupting volcanoes, and lays of the land, the copter winds up and down, through and between the canyons, squeezing through the lush bright green vegetation and vibrant dirt colors that collide into one, eventually popping out over the indigo blue ocean. The water is so crystal clear, you can see the reef shadows from your seat. Food on Kauai is really great, to say the least, but also expensive, even when shopping at the grocery store. There's an amazing ice cream and coffee shop on Kauai called Lappert's Hawaii. Their tropical, coffee, and chocolatey flavors have lines reaching out of the doors in every location. Although they have some great ice cream and coffee, Hawaiians are known for their shaved ice concoctions, roast pork, poke plates, and taro. Taro is a sacred crop of Hawaii and tied to Hawaiians' belief in creation. It's also a crop that's plentiful, but poisonous unless cooked. You're on the North Shore one day and stop by a food truck on the way to Hanalei called Holy Grail Donuts, and quickly realize everyone should visit this truck because, wow! These are the most incredible donuts you've ever tasted, especially the vegan taro donut. The consistency is soft yet dense, with a hint of sweetness, but just the right amount. There are a lot of tourist traps in terms of restaurants, because you've been to a few, so you try to stay as local as possible, given the circumstances for the remainder of the trip. Later in the week, you join a boat excursion out to the depths of the Big Blue, a half-day experience of admiring tan, brown, blue, green, and white coastal lines once more, but from a perspective quite the opposite than before. First stop of the day after sailing out, everyone grabs a snorkel and dives right in to play with every color of fish imaginable and giant turtles who look to at least be 100 years old. A turtle slowly floats by, curious to see what you're up to as they pass, convincing you to attempt to swim alongside him for as long as possible as he glides further into the vast darkness. Once everyone is full of salt water and ready to retreat aboard, the journey continues. Lunch is served midday, which is nothing special. Sandwiches and adult beverage. Bonus, you're welcome to eat and drink as much as you'd like. Shortly after the boat takes off, you spot bottlenose and spinner dolphins swimming parallel, and not just a couple, about 10 of them at once, running down to the bottom level of the boat and jumping on the back netting, getting as close as possible. A handful playfully coast up and down, racing to keep ahead as the boat flies further down the coast. After a slowdown to point out some movie shot locations and beautiful cliff views, it's time to turn around and head back to dock. I suppose this magical moment wasn't meant to last forever. Suddenly, a breaching humpback whale and her baby off in the distance, emerging their heads and fins above water, showing off before disappearing indefinitely. And soon enough, the dock is within sight. What an experience. Can the trip get any better than this? Luau's are good for explaining a touch of the history and traditions of Hawaii, complete with a traditional dinner. Kalua pa'a, the roasted pork, is prepared in a special way. In the morning, the pig is killed and brought back, prepared, and then lowered by 2 men into the ground stuffed with hot stones, covered in banana leaves and dirt, and left to cook for many hours. Once you arrive for the luau experience, the men lift the pig out of the underground oven and demonstrate the process to the crowd who will consume it. After dinner, music, and drinks, it's time to head over to the hula show, where many different kinds of hula are performed from all over the world, with history memos as dancers perform on stage. Hanalei is your most beloved piece of the island of Kauai. It's quiet, seems to be more local, and a little slice straight from heaven. The best coffee and breakfast on the island are also here, right on the main road at Hanalei Bread Company. Farmers markets are held every weekend where you can grab an ice-cold coconut at the small but friendly community center, which hosts other events and school for kids. The sweetest local couple, Doug and Sandy McMaster, hold live concerts here where they play traditional slack key guitar and ukulele together and narrate how their songs are born in between. The most relaxing music that engulfs the room with peace. The surf at Hanalei Bay is perfect for beginners. Yet the water is calm enough to swim and the water temp is perfect. Not too cold, not too warm. It's your choice to either rent a board or hire an instructor. And after thinking it through, some help may be needed before being released into unpredictable waters. Once instructed, you take the first rolling wave and right away you're able to stand up. It's a complete rush of energy and ego. You can conquer the ocean. Paddling back out for the next set, you realize it's not quite as easy as it seemed. Time after time, you continue to fall until finally, about 45 minutes later, you're able to ride the wave back to shore, realizing that surfing is a few things: challenging, meditative, and addicting. You've never felt anything like it before. Hiking in the rain is pretty common and very refreshing. A bit chilly and muggy, yet neither overpowering. And the wet, cool droplets seem to cleanse both your soul and body as you internally warm with movement. Almost every hike you complete has some sort of moisture, making it a messy one. The trail usually muddy, if nothing else, which is the case while hiking the Auauapui Trail, a trail that totals over 5 miles, leading you down to a cliff's edge overlooking the ocean, smacked in between two towering cliffs. Along the gray and overcast climb down, with the occasional peeking sun ray, you spot trees with yellow, green, and orange-colored bark while slipping along slopes of mud, praying you don't add another bruise to the collection. While climbing down, you suddenly feel a joyful sensation, and your thoughts start wandering to how beautiful this life is and how much you enjoy living it with your partner. Life just can't get any better than this. The trail must be special because it doesn't seem to be over-trafficked, but celebration of all kinds seem to take place with each passerby getting you on their way back with a warm, friendly smile and an updated weather forecast, since your partner has been asking every passing group since you started the hike. Why does he care that much anyway? Oh well. Once you reach the bottom, there's a sketchy extension of the trail that drops on both sides of large boulders framing the trail, and other hikers have successfully made it down. The group wants to go over there, but you're too scared. Once convinced to make your way over to the small opening past the slim slice that was honestly quite terrifying, your entire body is shaking. A hug from your partner calms you down, and just as you're starting to feel less on edge, he's turned to face you and has that look in his eyes that only you know. No way. It can't be happening. No way. You start to black out as you're in utter shock, saying you don't believe him and it's not real. But the next thing you know, he's down on one knee. Somehow, within all those emotions running high, you manage to hear one sentence that was probably the most important anyway. And of course, you say yes. Everyone around claps, and you spend the next few moments recollecting yourself and enjoying the special moment with the one you love most. Once you trek back over to the mainland and head back up, another couple asks if you care for a glass of wine to celebrate. Showers in the spring are plentiful, and shortly after, there's almost always a rainbow. Driving back to the North Shore beside the colorful canyons, you spot a full rainbow in an opening as "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" plays through the car speakers. One of the highly encouraged hikes is the Sleeping Giant, but it's said it's best done before sunrise, so you decide to say aloha to the island with a morning hike. As you're climbing up to the top in the darkness with your flashlight shining bright, the sun follows suit, peeking over the horizon, showing off its golden colors and granting a good morning to all. The ambiance gives you the room to reflect on life and just how amazing this entire trip has been. Really, unlike any other experience. This will always be a trip to remember.